Hello and welcome to another edition of the Scoutcast from Fantasy Football Scout. My name is Joe.
And my name is Andy.
Andy, what is coming up on the show?
Yeah, so obviously we are mid-game week still at the moment. The last game is going on at the moment, United versus Brighton. So we'll be keeping tabs on that. And I'm sure the chat will let us know how they're getting on too. We're going to do a quick recap of how our game weeks have gone so far, which would be interesting to look at actually, because obviously it's going to inform us a little bit about moving forward too. We're going to look at our plans for game week 26. We're going to talk about the best players that you're going to be wanting to own, best attacking teams, which is always a nice one to look at too, best defenses to target as well. But we're going to look forward at the dangers that are lying ahead, because in the next 5 fixtures, we're not going to lie, it is going to be full of traps. It really is. And we're going to try and identify them, aren't we?
It is. Every move we make for Game Week 26 has a knock-on, and we'll definitely talk about that.
Exactly. We're going to have a look at the community team, and then we're going to have our ever-famous community questions at the end as well, which we're always looking forward to.
Excellent. Thanks so much for that. Before we go on, I just want to welcome those that have joined us early in the chat. Now, the Manchester United Brighton game, rather Brighton's impending victory game, is taking place.
Oh yeah, this is United versus Brighton tonight.
Very shortly. Yeah, there's still a game week going on.
No, it's in me and you.
Yeah, I've got I've got a captain to go. Whoop-de-doo. Welcome to Niraj, Kerim, Marshall, Nenad, Jeremy, Paul Fans, Matthew Kent, Kesh Studios, Just a Dad posting stuff, who's making the same moves as me, I believe, on the captaincy video, he said. And all of the others that have joined us, thanks so much. Do remember to press the like button. I'm assuming you're all subscribers, but if not, do subscribe and tell your friends to subscribe. But definitely press that like button. Lots of you so far. Thanks for joining us. Sort of have one eye or ear on the Manchester United and Brighton game, but the other eye or ear on us, which would be great. So let's see what we're doing so far. Andy, we'll have a quick recap of Game Week 25. Here's your team. Do you want to sort of run through it and what you're going, how it's doing so far, and what moves you made, and who you've got to play tonight?
Yeah, I'd absolutely love to. So I'm on 49 points at the moment, although that will be 54 when 8 Nori comes in. So I had Sanchez in goal that I was quite happy with. I obviously got the clean sheet. I had Cancelo, who got 0. So 8 Nori is going to be coming in with his 5 points, which I was very happy with, to be perfectly honest. I had Trent and Robertson at the back with Luca Dean. And then Bruno captain, who's obviously playing tonight as well. Bowen, who is just unbelievable this season. Ramsey, who got 1 point, which was quite disappointed in, to be perfectly honest, because Newcastle are proven to be a very, very good team at home at the moment. And then Kane and Edouard and Mopé up top. Ooh. And it's Mopé who's the only one that got me any kind of return. And obviously he's playing tonight as well. And then I have my triple Arsenal on the bench that are primed to play next week, apart from Martinelli, who obviously got sent off last game week. So 49, 54 with the sub, and I'll be up to about 50k. So nice. Yeah, very happy so far, and I feel primed for the next 2 weeks, which is the most important thing.
Intriguing front line as well. So as we'll put my team up in a sec, I've gone old school with mine. I've gone for that trusty Watford defence attack. I called it defence, but I might as well have defenders up front. Basically, they can't score, and somehow I've got double Watford strikers still. So I guess that was one of the many reasons you wildcarded recently, and why your team looks a bit different.
Yeah, so basically, I quite like an early wildcard in the second half, because I feel like especially when double game weeks and that get announced, I feel like I can attack it really well. And I didn't like my team. I had double Watford attack. I had Gray, I had Diop, I had Livramento, who's in and out. I had Steer on the bench, who's not even in the league anymore. And I just looked at it and thought, I can change this and I can attack rather than just kind of plodding through. Yeah. So I wildcarded knowing that I'm going to free hit in 27 and I can attack the next 3 to 4 weeks. And hopefully my rank will go up because of it. That double Watford attack, they've scored 5 goals in 10 games, and they've now got pointless. Roy Hodgson in. I wanted them gone. Absolutely gone. And since I've done that, it's proved to be quite a good thing to have done.
It's literally the most pointless. And it's so annoying as well, because then they double. So then well, at least I'll get 4 points. Well, 3 in the case of Dennis, but at least I'll get 4 points from Josh King. And so I think, well, he's so cheap, I might as well play him. It's like the equivalent of playing, I I don't know, a Leeds defender or something like that, basically. Yeah. But yeah, so I'm not tempted to wildcard yet. I've only got one free hit left. I think if I had 2 free hits though, I could attack 27 with a free hit. But I think I'm going to attack 30 here because that's the one where I've got least coverage. And game of 27, I'd just be like a player down or something, and I don't think that's, for me, free hittable. But yeah, here's my team. So I'm actually on 41 so far. So a small red arrow. But it's got some work to go. So Cancelo and Reguilon kindly didn't show up. So I got Livramento's 1 point, but Diop was my hero, 5 points. I didn't expect him to play. He didn't expect to play, and he ends up getting 5 points for me. So I've got De Gea in goal, who's playing tonight. Alexander-Arnold, customary points there. Cancelo, Reguilon didn't turn up. Jota was benched. Bowen, customary points, doesn't matter. He's 100% owned, 13 points. Bruno, my captain and playing tonight. Salah, I just realised both me and Az checked Nymphria's graphics here. Say, yeah, everything's fine. We've got all the shirts in the right place. I just noticed here that it's got me with Josh King as captain. Yeah, I didn't captain Josh King. So I captained Bruno, but I might as well have captained Josh King.
Yeah.
I got Salah, I've got Watkins, Dennis and King, so that awful front line. I got Salah in a couple of weeks ago. I said I would, and I wanted to get him in while he was a differential. And so I've captained him. He could have got me a haul against Leicester in his 30 minutes, but didn't. But nevertheless, he's there. I don't have to worry about that. So we'll discuss our moves, but I'm tentatively looking at what one of our posters in the captaincy chat was saying, which was just a dad posting stuff. He's doing the same moves as me, which is I've got money to upgrade Steele to Ramsdale. I believe that's going to work, and I'm going to take a hit within that to do Bruno to Son. So the hit bit is Ramsdale, really. And that sets me up for game week 27 and beyond, really. And I'll probably look to wildcard after 30 at some point. So, yes, but that front line, whew, it's whiffy. It's a whiffy front line.
Hey, you captained one of them.
And I didn't. I think it's my punishment for still having them is that the Fantasy Football Scout towers are making me captain.
Yeah. It.
Anyway, enough of my team. Let's have a look at next five. Actually, I'm doing next 5 fixtures. So we're moving this forward a little bit because we've really got to pay attention to these fixtures that are coming up. We're getting a bit more of a steer on what's happening. So looking at game weeks 27, you will look at We'll talk about the double in a sec, game week 26. But game week 27 is something to be is one of these double game week dangers. It's a blank game week for Liverpool, Chelsea, and Arsenal, and that's important with Arsenal and Liverpool because they got a great double this week, and then they blank. So if you load up on them, you're going to be 6 players down immediately the next game week. So if you've got a free hit, that's how you can get out of it. Easy. Game week 28 might see Arsenal, but maybe Chelsea having a double there. And I don't rule out a wildcard in game week 28 to go with that and just start attacking Arsenal, Chelsea, Leicester, these types of teams a bit more. And then game week 30, there's another pitfall. There could just be 3 matches, very likely to be just 3 matches. Villa against Arsenal, Leeds against Wolves, and Brentford against Leicester. So if you've already got loads of players, or you can get loads of players from those teams, you might not need to free hit in game week 30. But if, like me, I haven't got a tremendous amount of Arsenal coverage, I haven't really got a lot of Villa, Wolves, or Leicester, I will use my free hit to just go with them and just hope Maddison, Jimenez, the Arsenal triple up, Coutinho, those sorts of players do me proud. So that's my aim for game week 30. So others might be in that position as well. But for you, what's your basic chip strategy at the moment? Just to remind everyone.
So at the moment, wildcarded last week. So before this game week, definite free hit in 27. So I loaded up on Liverpool and Arsenal players because I knew they'd have the double in 26, and then I could free hit in 27 and not have to worry about them. And also, I love the idea of free hitting in 27, so I could have a few Burnley players, but I wouldn't have to keep them, which I really like that idea of. And then in 28, Arsenal might have a double, so I'm getting a lot of doubles out of these players, and that free hit saves me in 27. And then I've also, at the moment, got 6 players for game week 30 already, which means that I could free hit if I wanted to, but I've also got the option where I could go in with just 8 players. And I feel like that would probably be enough as long as I have a captain option there. So I feel like I'm kind of set up to game week 30. And then if I get past game week 30 with a free hit still, and I've still got my bench boost, and I've still got no, I think that'll be it. Just free hit and bench boost. I feel like I can then attack the last couple of weeks that will be double game weeks as well. So yeah, I feel like that's a solid strategy. But I think I wasn't recommending anybody else to wildcard when I did, unless they had those 2 free hits, because I think getting through 27 and 30 with only 1 free hit is tricky. So that's the only reason I went for it, really.
Yeah, definitely. And this is why I don't rule out a game week 28 wildcard, because we'll have a better steer on the doubles to come. You can load up on Arsenal, Chelsea, Leicester, and by Leicester, patchy form, but the likes of James Maddison, Tielemans, and penalties and Vardy's absence. These are good investment. And of course there's Southampton as well to look at. There's lots of players I want, and game week 28 might just be that I've just had enough, and I feel that because of having the free hit, you can wildcard in 28, and then you can avoid game week 30. You don't have to necessarily go for that, but it's options. Definitely.
I think what you were just saying as well, I don't mind the idea of trying to get transfers in for game week 28 and then try and dead end into the game week 30. So if you dead end to it, and even if you've just got 8 players and then wildcard after, I think that could be a very strong wildcard after that. But I do like the idea of getting those Chelsea and Leicester players, because they are owned by pretty much nobody at the moment, and if you can get on them on that fixture swing, I think that's a great shout.
So I was talking to Kamsi on the Meet the Manager video today, so I do urge people to have a look at that. Kamsi's been he's the young. I've described him as the youngest veteran in FPL. He started playing when he was 14. And he's been he seems to have been knocking around forever playing, but he's so young. That he was so young when he started. He's only in his 20s, and he's got loads of top finishes, and he's had quite a roller coaster relationship with FPL over the years. But one of the things he's really good at is getting those bandwagons of the future, which is the key to unlocking FPL, really. And so, for example, he would do things like he got Mahrez in, and there were other people who maybe got Sterling in last time for his hat-trick. And it's those types of players that you're looking at. And he was saying that Leicester, Chelsea really are going to be those bandwagons. Everyone's going to want them soon. But if you get them in early, you can get some good assets there. And by that, I'm talking, say James is back in defence at Chelsea. I mean, Rudiger anyway would be good value. I mean, I think you can really stock up quite nicely. Jorginho, what a great asset. He's on penalties, and
Mason Mount, I think I'd be all over as well.
Mason Mount could be injured quite long term. I don't know. He went off.
Oh, is he? I didn't know that.
During the club World Cup Championship, whatever they call it.
Yes, he did. Yeah.
And I'm unsure of what the situation is there. So that would be annoying, because he was in my team. And he's exactly my type of player. Just ticks along nicely. He's on corners, free kicks, all those kind. And it's just like every time. It's why I like Son as well. He's on loads of corners. And Alexander Arnold. Alexander Arnold's in everyone's team, but that's good. So anyway, this patchwork quilt of fixtures is something we've got to keep an eye on. So let's roll out the stats on. Let's go for best double game.
I've lost you.
Oh, can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay. Can you hear me?
Don't know whether you can hear me, so I'm just going to wait.
Okay, bear with us a sec. We're just going to test some things. Can you hear this?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Test some things. Can you hear this? There we go. Okay, there we go. It was that simple. I just tested the mic and it
There you
worked
go.
again. I don't know why that was, but apologies for that. So let's move on to some stats. Can you hear this? Double game week 26.
I can.
I've got some stats here. So these are last 4 matches, and what I've done is I've only included players that double. So I think I've got this all right. And so I got the best expected goal involvement last 4 matches, and I just stripped out anyone who's a single game week player. I'm not saying ignore them, but what I am saying is if you're going to get a double player game week player in and captain one, these are the sorts of players we should be looking at. And it shows, unsurprisingly, last 4 matches, Salah has been absolutely superb. Meanwhile, Kane and Son are just behind. And Lacazette, now Lacazette's interesting. If I was free hitting this week, or I was looking to max up on Arsenal and free hitting next week, well, Lacazette, I would go for him because he's just involved. What do you think? You not for your team perhaps, but are you advocating Lacazette?
Yeah, I actually don't mind it as a gamble, to be honest. The thing I'm not a massive fan of is his price point. I'm not a massive fan of that 8.3 because, don't get me wrong, strikers are just terrible this year. So, you know, there's not a lot of value across the board. So he's not a bad option to go with. For me, I think my problem with Lacazette is that I think I probably want double Arsenal defence. You know, I'd want someone like Ramsdale and then Tierney, Gabriel, or White, someone like that, and then it's Saka. You know, I love Saka. I'd probably have him in the middle. So it's trying to justify going up to 8.3 for Lacazette when strikers are doing barely anything all across the board. But if you can put someone like Lacazette in and he gets you, you know, a brace in that double game week, I think you're going to be laughing. So I don't hate him as a pick at all. I think it's just struggling to justify him over that double defence and one of their midfielders, really.
Yeah, definitely. Because there's another asset there to look at. If you're looking for a differential asset in this double game week, and that's Jimenez at Wolves, who's actually now scoring. Wolves are actually not only keeping clean sheets, they're scoring, and it's Jimenez who's involved, as you would expect. Expected goal involvement, well over 2 goals last 4. He's created 4 chances. He's had 7 shots inside the box. So it's kind of Jimenez is coming back to be an asset, and I think I'd be tempted. I am tempted to get Jimenez in for a hit because he's a very handy player.
Yeah, he's tempting, isn't he? I do think there's a reason though that people weren't talking about Jimenez before he scored against Spurs. Like, they don't score an awful lot of goals, Wolves, and but the thing is, he obviously plays in game week 30, which is why a lot of people are going to be looking at him now and starting to think, oh, hang on. And obviously, because we've just got so little options up front, people are now going to be looking at a striker that's just scored and think, oh, hang on, he's probably one of our best options. So I don't hate it again as an option. I think people need to temper their expectations because Wolves don't score a lot of goals. They are a very defensive team now. So but I don't hate it.
No, definitely. And then Daniel James for Leeds. So it's a really bad double game week for Leeds. But nevertheless, in Bamford's absence, it's James who's stepping up. So those that have invested in him have been doing well recently, and he could get a goal. There's Jota there, as you would imagine. Mane, obviously. So he's very Liverpool heavy. So it goes without saying, triple up on Liverpool. However you do it, just triple up on Liverpool.
So you are then, Joe. If you were on free hit, which 3 Liverpool would you be going for then?
For this free hit, I would go for Jota. In this order, I would go for Salah, Alexander-Arnold and Jota. If it was more long term, I would do the setup that you've got and not have Jota and have Robertson, because I think over a period of games, a longer period of games, those clean sheets add up, those assists add up. Jota will get restricted minutes here and there. So long term, I think that. But if it was just for this one off, I would say Jota. I mean, I didn't captain him a couple of weeks ago, and he got 16 points. So I could have got 32 points from him there. That's Jota. You know, he can get a brace any moment, and he's got good fixtures. So, I've included another name at the bottom of this list. This is genuinely the next player, but below Mane. It's Doherty. Remember him? Used to play at Wolves, and he's been playing at Spurs allegedly for a while. But he has been emerging as the key attacking wing back at Spurs. So interesting. Don't know. There's going to be a lot of rotation there. I've got Reggie on. I don't know.
Yeah, I think if I was going to touch one of the Spurs defenders, I think Romero's probably the one I'd be going with. He seems to love the bonus points, and he's playing every game and doesn't seem to be getting rotated. So I think that's probably the way I would go. Yeah. But I mean, losing 2-0 against Wolves, there's something wrong there at the moment, isn't there?
No, definitely. I mean, we've got our community team. We'll show a bit later. But we've got Ben Davis in there. I'm happy with that. I think just because he's more nailed. Yeah. Intriguing to see Doherty there. Now you're pretty set up for Gameweek 26. Who do you fear? Who don't you own? Who you fear?
Son. I do fear Son. I've got Kane, but I really do like Son as an option. I feel like he's somebody that can get you a brace in any game. Like he's so explosive when he plays. He's definitely someone. I wish I had double Arsenal defence. I'm so annoyed Martinelli got sent off because I was quite happy owning that. But you look at those 2 games for Arsenal, they just scream clean sheets. And I was really close to getting Ben White in. Yeah. But I'm glad I didn't, because this week would have been a bit more shot. But I couldn't go into this week with 4 blanks on my bench. So yeah, I look at it. I think double Arsenal defence is the way to go. So I'm a bit annoyed with that because obviously if they keep a clean sheet, I don't feel like I'm gaining. And Son, I think, is the other one really. Apart from that, I don't massively fear anybody else, to be honest. I think if you have, I suppose it's some of the single game week players that could hurt you too, but not massively. City have got Spurs; they could tighten up a bit. So yeah, I think Son in that second Arsenal defender is probably what I fear the most.
Yeah, I mean, for me, weirdly, my team's not in the greatest shape, but I'll get with a hit 8 double game weekers, and there's no one really I fear because I'm getting Ramsdale in really as a shield and a long term pick. But yeah, I mean, I would like to have already had him in. I would like to already have Son. Son is another player. Son or Kane. So Son is cheaper, and I think he's going to get more value out of him. But I think I would like to go for a differential. I would like to go for someone like you mentioned, the double Arsenal defence. Gabriel at the back with goal threats. Tarkowski at Burnley. These are the sorts of players that are going to get you the random double game. I remember I had Matt Loughton in a double game week about this time last year.
Yeah.
And he scored his first goal in like a decade.
I know. I had Ben Mee in that week and he got concussion in the first game.
So it's those types of players. It's I would like to have a differential defender who might end up with nothing. But in order for me to do that, I'll have to take another hit. And I just think you've got to stop it at some point with the hits, and I think 1 hit this week is fine for me, my position. But I would like to get that Gabriel or possibly a Tierney. But my only issue with Tierney is that he's got great delivery, but who's he aim at? There's no.
Yeah, and for me as well, if you've used your wild card or if you whatever it is you're doing, I'm not a massive fan of bringing in another defender that's going to cost like Tierney's just bordering on that too much. Whereas I think I've said it at the beginning. I think White's probably the best one because you don't mind benching him later on. You don't mind benching that 4.4, 4.5, whatever it is. Whereas someone like Tierney or even Gabriel, I think is Tierney 5.4ish and Gabriel's about 5, and you just think, and you just think that's that little bit too much. And we're all going to have Trent, Cancelo, and either another Liverpool player or another City player, and I just don't know. It borders on a little bit too much for me personally.
But apart from that, I think there are differentials there to get in. I think those getting Jimenez and Lacazette, and looking at Burnley as well. This isn't the best double for them, but game 27 is better, and Cornet could do well, and some of those defenders there, could nick a goal. Let's move on to game week 27. So once again, what I've done here is I've stripped out the players from teams that aren't playing. So no Arsenal, no Liverpool, no Chelsea, and this looks like a completely different set of kettle of fish here because there's no Liverpool here at all. And then this elevates the likes of Foden, Mahrez at City, obviously Kane and Son are still there. Jimenez is still there. Daniel James is still there. And then you've got some Manchester United players creeping in. Rashford, who's benched tonight. Is this his rest? Bowen is back in there, so the trusty single game weeker. And Doherty is still there. Genuinely, I'm not fudging this so that Doherty is weirdly here. But he is genuinely the 10th one. Yeah, I think I've done 10th, top 10th best option in terms of expected goal involvement. So yeah, in terms of expected goal involvement, last 4 matches, Mahrez is top. I think for you, game week 27, I would like to see Mahrez in your team, and I would be very surprised if he's not, because he's the absolute standout for this for a free hit. Kane, Tony at Brentford, Son, Jimenez, and all those other players that we've mentioned, Foden as well. So yeah, your free hitting game week 27. When you look at this, this is the best bunch. There's most goal involvement recently. Who of this lot will you have in your team?
I'll have a City midfielder. It depends who that's going to be and what the noises are leading up to it. Because obviously, Champions League, they're playing tonight as well, and you're looking at it and thinking, I know Pep doesn't usually play like this, but if they can't play all the games, so which midfielder is it that's most likely to play? If it looks like it's going to be Mahrez, he's the perfect kind of free hit player if you think he's going to play. So I think Mahrez, he's on pens as well, and you look at it and think he could be brilliant. Foden on his day, he can obviously be great, so he's somebody that you could potentially use as well. I think it's going to be interesting to see what Spurs look like against City before this game week, but I think you'd have to have a City guy in there anyway. And I look at it and I just think it's such a good week to use a free hit if you load it up on the Liverpool and Arsenal, which is obviously what I've done. But I think that's probably the way I'll go. I think 1 City mid and then 2 City defenders would probably be the way I would go. And they would be my linchpins, and then you probably captain one of them and then build around there really. But yeah, I think it looks all right, doesn't it? There's some interesting players to pick from, which is exactly what you want in a free hit.
Yeah, definitely. There's no Salah, obviously, so there's a big hunk of cash can go towards, say, if it looks like De Bruyne is the one who's going to play. It looks like Sterling's the one, just had a rest, that kind of thing. So that looks good. I mean, I look at the game week 27 and I see a Kane or a Son as the key players to have and potentially to captain. I may take a hit to get a Burnley player in because they have a double and the hit will play, but I don't think I will be I don't feel confident captaining any Burnley player apart from Nick Pope. But I mean, I think for you, if you're free hitting, if you're faced with a Man City midfielder with a favourable fixture and a Burnley defender, it doesn't matter if they're playing twice, does it?
No, it doesn't at all. If I feel confident that a Man City midfielder is going to play, it's going to be him I'm going to captain, to be honest. I think, like you just said, I think it'd be Cornet and Nick Pope that I would get in for Burnley. If Weghorst looks like he's maybe playing, then I could potentially get him in as well. But this is, again, if you're free hitting, it's perfect. I don't want to keep these Burnley players. So it's perfect to have them in for that just one game week and have a bit of fun with it as well. Pope, Cornet and Weghorst could be quite fun, couldn't it? Yeah. I say about a team that doesn't score a lot of goals.
No, I do think a Burnley defender, a me or Tarkowski would be really good on a free hit, I think, for this week. So this is the game week 27 assets here. So useful for free hitters and useful for those like me who aren't free hitting to see what we're up against. Game week 30. As it stands, game week 28, 29 could be doubles as well. Chelsea could be involved. Arsenal again. We don't know that at the moment. I have got here, I put up the goals imminent table. Just check it is the goals imminent table, if you bear with me. I haven't... no, I've completely wrongly labelled this one. So I'm going to try, live on air, get rid of that title. There we go. Just do it like that. There we go. Ooh. Just last 4 matches. So this is,
absolute pro.
Absolute pro doing it like that.
Like it.
So I've got rid of that. This is a game week 30. Game week 30 assets. So once again, I've just narrowed it down to those with who actually got matches. So looking at that, game week 30, Villa, Arsenal, Leeds, Wolves, Brentford and Leicester. So these are the key players. This is my free hit. This is where I march on. So I'll be looking at getting Lacazette, who's top of this. Then there's Tony, then Jimenez. This is in terms of expected goal involvement. Then you've got Daniel James at Leeds, Jacob Ramsey at Villa. He's the best Villa asset at the moment. I'll be looking to get Coutinho in as well. The Daka at Leicester, Maddison, Harvey Barnes. I think a Leicester triple up like that is quite good. I'm not going near their defence. But Leicester against Brentford, free hit with those three. It could be lots of 2 points. That could be amazing. Saka at Arsenal will be on my shopping list as well. And possibly Harrison at Leeds. So these are the most attacking players. And there's a lot to choose from there. I don't own a lot of these players. I'm not sure I want to long term, but I really like the look of these. So I think those watching and listening, if you're going to wildcard before game week 30, I would advise making sure you got some of these players in, or these types of players. So you've already wildcarded.
Yep.
And your game week 30 is possibly free hit, possibly not.
No, well, yeah, I've got 6 for it already. So I've got my 3 Arsenal, I've got 8 Nori, I've got Ramsey and Dean. So I've got 6 already. I think I would probably be happy getting in another Villa player if I wanted to get Watkins, someone like that. And probably another Leicester player because I've got a few doubles as well. And I just look at it and think I could get up to 8 and actually be quite happy owning those players moving forward as well. And as soon as, for me, and if you're in a blank game week and you've got 8 and you'd have a captaincy option there as well, I feel like that's enough. I feel like that's fine. I feel like you're not going to be losing out on people that are free hitting too much. Like, I'm looking at it thinking you will have 3 more players than me, but I'm maybe going to miss out on 10, 15 points, which I would take in a blank game week to then keep the free hit for another time. I think Jacob Ramsey, by the way, perfect 5th midfielder. If you're not having him as your 5th midfielder on a wild card whenever you do it, it doesn't matter, even if it's after game week 30. He's so good. Like, I benched him last week and didn't get his points, which was quite annoying, but he's so good. You know, Villa are looking good at times, and I feel like he's perfect for 4.8 million. But I do really like, if Daka's still up front at that time, I think Daka and Maddison in particular could be really good in that week. I do really like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be looking at getting Ramsey in, and playing him, and I actually quite like the look of some strikers here. I'm not keen on strikers in general, but I like the thought of Jimenez. I like the thought of Lacazette, Daka. These are the sort of players that I'd really like to take a punt on in game week 30.
Yeah.
And so Jacob Ramsey, I disagree. Not a 5th midfield at all. Ignore the price. He's a 3rd or 4th. He's definitely a really good asset. Definitely a 4th. So I would be looking to play him in this week. So yeah, I don't know. This is going to be. So I'm going to be, I don't know, languishing around the 1 million mark in the rankings by then. But game week 30 is going to be my week. So I'm going to be hoping for a rare Tony brace or something like that. But no, I'll be looking at Leicester to do well against Brentford, andLl be looking at Jimenez to score against Leeds, very likely there. And Arsenal Villa, that could be, well, I don't know. Anything could happen.
Yeah. Yeah, you look at that game straight away and think it could be 0-0, don't you? Like, every Arsenal game I look at, I think it could be 0-0.
I will make sure I will have an Arsenal defender, and I will have a Villa defender anyway. So I'll have Luca Dean, and I'll maybe go for Gabriel as well. That's it's
a good shout.
That's the player to have. So I've got some more tables. Are you tabled out yet, or?
No, we're doing all right. We're doing all right.
We got
quite like these tables. They got a new look. I like it.
We got a mountain of tables, so to speak. So let's have a look. I've got some team tables here. So this is expected goals, last 4, but this is the best team attack. So I don't know about you, but my attitude to certain teams has had to change. I used to think Norwich were whipping boys, but they're not anymore. I used to think Watford were whipping boys, and actually they're not. They're better defensively, but they can't attack. Manchester United, I think we're all having to get used to them being a mid-table side.
Awful.
Basically, a mid-table side. They are genuinely playing Brighton tonight as the underdogs. That's genuine. That's genuine. That's what.
Stop it.
I'm not blaming you as a Manchester
Stop
United
it.
fan, but that's how atrocious they are.
I could leave midstream. I don't mind. I know.
And so we've had to like temper our views, but there's some things that are familiar. Liverpool, Man City, I would expect to see them high up. So this is the best attacking teams last 4 matches. So Manchester United. So I was wrong. Manchester United have actually been underperforming. I mean, you can say they're underperforming, but in terms of expected goals, they really should have been scoring very well here. So they're just behind Liverpool in terms of expected goals. They've scored 6 compared to 9 for Liverpool, and Liverpool expected goals is edging to 9. So is Manchester United's. So they've been underperforming. So what I just said there, I was doing it deliberately, really, to say that everyone's down on Manchester United, but maybe not. Maybe we shouldn't be. Maybe they can click at some point attack-wise. I don't care if they lose, but they could score a lot of goals. What do you think?
Yeah, they could. I mean, as a United fan, obviously, I watch them maybe a bit more than some people do, but there's some things that stats don't show, and there's a massive mentality problem at Man United at the moment. We start games really well, like we genuinely do. We start games first half hour, we look better than we look against any other person, but we tend to maybe score early or it stays 0-0, and then one thing goes wrong and everything just drops. And second halves, we're awful at the moment. We could be winning 1-0 and we know we're going to draw the game 1-1 or we're going to lose the game. It just we're really bad at that at the moment. And I'm looking at this and I'm actually quite surprised they are as high up. But I'm just thinking actually we have had chances. We had chances against was it Southampton when Bruno hit the post? Ronaldo had a good shot as well. And I'm looking at this and thinking, yes, they're not looking too bad, but there are some real issues with this team. And I don't know any United player that I would trust to have in my team at the moment, if I'm perfectly honest. Ronaldo's overpriced. Bruno isn't a good option when Ronaldo's playing. Rashford's in and out. Sancho is an interesting one, but we're not scoring enough goals for him to be relevant, really. And in defence, I mean, it's just all over the place again there as well. So I will not be having any Man United players in my team, I don't think, moving forward, personally.
A few eagle-eyed people in the chat noticed that Burnley was so poor they're not even on there, and indeed they did slip off there. So I've just adjusted that. They might as well not be there. They are indeed bottom. So Burnley, Watford, Norwich, and actually Chelsea in the last 4 matches they played, their attacks have been not very good. This is why I'm looking at Chelsea's defence, perhaps. Crystal Palace as well. There was a bit of interest recently, but not doing so well. And West Ham, we've all got Bowen, but the West Ham attack is not really gelling. So the rest of them aren't actually doing their job. It's just Bowen. So that's why I think this is quite interesting, because it just puts in perspective who are the latest sort of attacks to go for.
Do you know what? To me, seeing Watford second to bottom as well. Yeah. So many people have that double Watford attack, I know. And you just look at it and think, we've been so blinded by double game week sometimes this year because we've had so many that we're keeping hold of players that we shouldn't be keeping hold of, basically. And I'm just looking at it and thinking, should we be taking out one of these Watford strikers for someone like Broja, who is actually doing very well, who doesn't have double game weeks at the moment, but will have one in the future? And you just think, is that the right move? Like, Broja could do more in one game than King and Dennis can do together in a double game week. So it's quite an interesting one. Chelsea down the bottom. Someone did DM me recently and said, do you think Lukaku's a good shout going after game week 28? And I thought, not really. They're not creating an awful lot. And he's not the focal point in that attack either. So, yeah, it's an interesting one. Crystal Palace down there as well. I went with Edouard on wildcard. Probably going to be ditching him for someone like Broja moving forward because, you can save some money on that. And Edouard's kind of a bit of a rotation fear at the moment too. But West Ham's interesting. We've all got Bowen, and Antonio's the one that all of us own, a lot of people own still as well. We've been saying it for weeks. It just seems to be every week, I keep him. And so he's somebody we could probably have a look at in terms of ditching soon as well. But some interesting teams down the bottom there.
Yeah, definitely there. And I think Chelsea are interesting. Burnley are interesting in terms of they've got a double-double coming up. But Cornet, Weghorst, if he's fit, might not be the players to get, because they're statistically at the moment even worse than Watford, who obviously much maligned. Just having a look at the score at the moment. Still Manchester United, Brighton. People in the live chat can let me know as well. But assuming no one's scored.
Yeah, I've looked. It's still 0-0.
Yeah, there we go. So you've captained Fernandes, haven't you, like me? Or,
I have. Yeah.
So
After what happened last time, I just thought I had to, really.
Yeah. Let's have a look at another team table I've got here. This is the Whipping Boys one. So last 4 matches again, and this is looking at expected goals conceded, and this shows that Leicester continue to be the defence to target, and it's Wolves who are against them in the double. This is why Jimenez intrigues me, because Leicester are pretty bad. They've conceded 8 goals, should have conceded much more. Then Leeds are always up there, and they're always a whipping boy. Southampton are still conceding a hell of a lot of expected chances there, and indeed they've conceded 7 goals. Tottenham as well, not so good. But then further down, you're looking at City and Chelsea. You would expect to be there, but Brighton as well, still there, still being a good defence, as Manchester United are finding out at the moment. Arsenal still a really good defence there. Then you got Liverpool. Newcastle are starting to be down the bottom of this table. Being down the bottom is good.
Yeah.
Now I know Trippier would have been such a great asset, but he's got an injury at the moment.
I know. He's out till May as well.
Right. Okay. I mean that's bad, but I mean they've got, say, Dan Burn now. They've got Matt Target. I mean they've got proper Premier League players now. They didn't really have. I mean Newcastle. I think Newcastle fans will probably be the first to admit. I mean they had a Championship side and that was somehow in the Premier League, but now it's looking like a Premier League defence. There's Watford there. Watford are right down there. Better than Manchester United defence. Better than Villa defence. Better than West Ham's defence. Wolves defence. So that's something to bear in mind, that Roy Hodgson is boring his way into our affections or lack of affections. So yeah, maybe a Watford defender is not a bad bench option, because there could be the odd clean sheet here. But what do you think looking at this? I mean, with the players that you've got and your plans, which defences are you looking to target? You know, the fixture you see and think, oh, right, I want an attacker captain player against them.
I think, I mean, Leicester is so poor. They've been poor all year, and you look at it. I mean, they are so far ahead in first. You know, the difference between them and second is the same as second and 8th, which is just ridiculous. And they're so poor at set pieces as well, defending set pieces. I think, who was it? Was it Dawson that scored? And he was against Vestergaard. And you just think Vestergaard's massive, and he still can't defend set pieces. You've got to target Leicester. It's why their attacking assets are so attractive moving forward, because they've got to score goals. They cannot keep clean sheets. Leeds are still really struggling with injuries, and they're conceding like mad. Also, on the other end of that table, Man City, we say it all the time, they don't have the double game weeks coming up. But if you can get 2 of their defenders in a game, you're not guaranteed a clean sheet, but you've got such a high chance of a double clean sheet there. So I think, I know they got rested this week, obviously, but Laporte and Cancelo, if you can get them both in your team, you're loving life. Brighton, I think it's funny having Brighton and Arsenal there together, because Sanchez and Ramsdale have a beautiful rotation all the way to the end of the season now. So I think that's worth looking at. And obviously, if you get on Sanchez now with Ramsdale, that you're not going to blank in those game weeks coming up either.
Is that the combination that you've got at the moment?
It is indeed, and played Sanchez this week as well, which is turning out okay at the moment. Liverpool, obviously, I've got Trent and Robertson. I think they're not looking amazing defensively at the moment. They're looking a little bit shaky, but they're one of the best teams in the league, aren't they? Newcastle, I think Trippier is such a massive shame he's now injured, because Obviously, he's starting to do really well at the moment, and it's a shame. It's really bad timing there. Watford, Hodgson has completely solidified them at the back. They are
Yeah,
conceding less chances,
yeah,
but it's ruined their attack.
yeah.
It's completely nullified their
It's
attack.
gone.
So I think that's interesting. And last one I'll just quickly mention is Wolves. I've
Yeah,
said this all season. Sa is the best keeper in the
yeah,
league this year
yeah,
because they're conceding chances and he's keeping clean sheets still.
yeah.
And I think, honestly, if it weren't for the fact that we've got all these double game weeks and things coming up, he'd be in a lot more teams.
Yeah. I mean, do you think? I mean, for me, I don't know Ramsdale or Sarr, and they're the only two
Yeah.
keepers I'm thinking of getting.
Yeah. I
It might be worth my while getting Sarr instead.
I love him. And obviously he plays in the blank as well.
Yeah.
But so does Ramsdale. So
Yeah.
I think a lot of people will be on Ramsdale, but Sar's going to go under the radar, and he has pretty much all year. I owned him for about 10 weeks, and I loved owning him. He gets clean sheet against teams you don't expect
Yeah.
either.
Yeah.
And he is somebody where a lot of people will go finish the year and say, never own Sar, and they'll look at his points tally, and it'll be right up there with Ramsdale, and they'll be quite surprised, I think.
Yeah. I mean, it's tempting. It's tempting for me. It would certainly avoid me keeping De Gea, although he might be keeping a clean sheet tonight. Yeah, I look at this really, and I look at the City defense. Now City are 4-0 up currently, so the second leg you would imagine they're gonna they can feel some children in that. Their children are better than most adults who play football,
Yeah.
but it means they can probably go quite strong in game week 27, which falls into your hands for free hitting there. So
Yeah.
you would imagine Cancelo is free to play. He's not going to be necessarily needed. And these types of players, you know, Mahrez, De Bruyne as well. These could be really serious options game week 27. But yeah, good to see. Now I think hopefully this is the one of the final. Yes, it is the final of these tables. Yes, finally. This is the goals imminent table, which I should have labelled goals imminent, but I labelled the wrong one. So what this is showing the last four matches, and there's a whole bunch of caveats here. Basically, if you score more than one goal, you're off the list really, because you're considered on the radar. People can see you, but so this is the kind of off radar picks, sort of kind of subterranean ones. So Salah, not he's, you know, people have heard of him. He's top, but it just shows how unfortunate I've been in the last couple of matches as an owner. And he's gone up. He was 12.7, I think, when I got him. He's 13 now. He's going up almost daily.
Very suspicious, that, isn't it?
Very suspicious. But his ownership has gone up a hell of a lot. He was about 30% owned when I got him. He's about 50 now.
Wow.
So he's missed 5 big chances, but he's had 6 in total. He's had 13 shots inside the box, 8 on target, and just 1 goal from that. When I see stats like that, and it's a good player like Salah, I think, well, that a goal is indeed imminent. Calvert-Lewin, slowly ticking away there. So if Everton and Calvert-Lewin can get a string of games together, he's there. Lacazette is there as well, so I've got him in the picture. And this proves that perhaps those free hitting or wanting to stock up on Arsenal, Lacazette is the one. Kane has been unfortunate. 13 shots inside the box, 8 on target, same as Salah, but just 1 goal for his efforts there. Ronaldo, due a goal. Trossard, Chris Wood, Martinelli. Oh, how annoying is that? Mane. So these are a lot of players that aren't necessarily in people's teams. I'm not seeing Lacazette in people's teams. I'm not seeing Mane in many people's teams. Chris Wood, my favourite there. Trossard, another differential as well. You know, there's some options here, I think, going forwards. So anyway, it's good to have a look here to see who's perhaps under the radar.
Yeah. It's do you know what? I got a few things like Calvert-Lewin. I don't know what's going on there at the moment, because Everton are scoring goals, but Calvert-Lewin just isn't involved. No. And I'm looking at it, anybody that went with DCL, you know, a couple of weeks ago, I feel like they could be really kind of hard done by, because I don't know why he hasn't got any kind of attacking and return at the moment. And that kind of worries me a little bit. Kane, obviously, I went with. I feel like he's due to blow up at some point.
Yeah.
Either way, good way or bad way. Martinelli is so ridiculously annoying for both of us because obviously he got suspended.
Look at it, it's primed for goals.
Yeah. And look at his price compared to everybody else there as well. Like it's
He's a git, isn't he?
yeah. But Salah, and I'm surprised actually we haven't spoken about this yet. Obviously, we're going into game week 26 with a big double game week. Salah triple captain, or people talking about bench boosting. What's your take on it? Because I'd love to have a bit of a chat about it.
I know I see people talking about that. Which one to use? It just and then the cliche is team dependent, but never has a question been so team dependent. If you have a good enough bench, consider it, and you will probably match. So say Salah gets 20 points. So he gets you. I mean, so he's getting 10 points both of those matches. Gets 20 points, so he gets 60 points for triple captain. So if you don't, you're looking at a bench boost. So if you think your bench boost is going to get 30 to 40 points, then yeah, you're going to easily match him. You could completely say Salah doesn't get 20 points. Say across the game weeks he gets 12 points. You can easily make that up with the bench boost. So for me, I mean, I can't even remember who's in my atrocious bench, but it's so my bench would be Martinelli, who's not playing, Livramento, who probably won't start, and Diop, who probably won't start, and Ramsdale. So I might get some points there. No, he won't start either. So for me, it's team dependent. Bench boost would just be the most ludicrous thing I could ever do. I won't triple captain Salah. I will bench boost a bunch of people who aren't going to play. But if you're looking at, say you've got, say you've got a Wolves defender there. Say you've got, say you've got, perhaps some Burnley assets as well. Maybe you're benching them as well because your single game weekers are so good.
Or Villa players, which I think a lot of people have as well.
So what's your team there? Yep. So have you got a bench? Well, let's just go back to your team. So just remind us. So mine
will be
a bench boosty.
Yeah, so mine will be Sanchez against Watford, Mopé against Watford, and then it will be Ramsey against whoever Villa have got, Burnley, I think. And then Nori or Martinelli, depending on who I want to put on the bench, should probably be Martinelli.
Sorry, I made a complete. I think I said that Ramsdale wouldn't play this week. We're talking about
I
just
went past that.
I'm a bit of a brain freeze. I was thinking of 27 still. Game 26, of course, yes. Martinelli's just going to get the one fixture. I meant to say Ramsdale would be an option. So it would be De Gea would be on my bench. So my bench boost would basically be De Gea. But in your case, it would be. And
it is team dependent. For me, I think unless you've got a whole bench and your whole bench is full of double game week players and good double game week players, I still don't understand why you wouldn't go triple captain Salah.
Okay.
Because it is the best week to use your triple captain. It's the best player in the game. 2 fixtures against teams that love conceding goals. Whereas you could bench boost another week and it could still be a good bench boost. Whereas you are not going to get a better triple captain chance than this. And I just struggle to see anybody having a bench that's going to do better. But it's not whether I think the bench boost is going to beat the triple captain this week. It's whether I think this triple captain is the best triple captain chance you'll get this year, or whether this is the best bench boost you'll get this year. And I think people are maybe underestimating what their bench boost could do later on.
Yeah.
Whereas triple captain, I cannot see a better opportunity than this week for triple captain.
I think the game week
they're over. People think about them too much anyway.
I'll be wildcarding later with a bench boost in mind, and I think it's game week 36. I think it's going to be a big double game week, but I don't think the teams are that good. So this could be perfect for some cheap but good bench players who are perhaps doubling. So perhaps a Southampton defender, who's a bit more nailed on than Livramento would be a good bench option. A Southampton goalkeeper perhaps. These are the sorts of players I'm thinking of that could be good bench assets. But yeah, you're right. I mean, yeah, if you've got a really good bench, then consider it against Salah. But yeah, I mean, like you, I can't. I don't think I'm going to see that bench. I don't think it exists, but maybe.
Yeah.
See,
I understand about the whole, use it now and then you don't have to worry about your bench moving forward. But I just think with players like Ramsey and like cheap defenders we've got, like Arsenal defenders, things like that, you just think, I feel like we can get a good week later on with it. And we know roughly who the double, who's going to be doubling later on as well. And I just feel like there's probably another week later on you can get a good bench. Whereas if you said at the beginning of the season, Salah against Leeds and Norwich, both at home, you'd have locked that in at the beginning of the season, wouldn't you?
Totally, yeah.
Yeah.
And as we've seen with the stats, so Salah has not performed the last couple of game weeks since he's come back from AFCON. But do not mistake that for him being washed up and hopeless. He's top of all the metrics we're showing last 4 matches. And so he is the form player still. He hasn't got the returns, but he's definitely the form player against 2 defences. Norwich a better defence than Leeds, but we saw them against City. When they're against absolute quality in attack, they will capitulate. Let's have a look at the community team. This might give people some more insight into what to do going forward. So I wish the community team, I think, is below the 300k mark at the moment, but I like this team a lot because of the flexibility it's got. We've got 2.2 in the bank, 2 free transfers. Currently got Foster and Ramsdale in goal, so we're fine for the next few game weeks. We've got Target, who's now a Newcastle defender. We got him when he was a Villa defender. Alexander-Arnold, Cancelo, Ben Davis and Dalot for Manchester United. Got him in just for this double. We've got Douglas Luiz, who is a weak link, definitely. Trossard, Salah, Jota, Bowen, and then up front, this awful front line of Dennis, King and Ronaldo. So I look at that and there's a lot of options here. I don't mind taking a hit here, and I'm actually thinking game week 27. We've got 2 free hits and a wild card. So game week 27, I think we're absolutely primed to stock up on Arsenal, and I'm looking at getting 2 Arsenal players in. So something like I think I earmarked something like Douglas Luiz and Ronaldo out for Lacazette and Saka. I'm really going for it. What do you think?
You're not going to like me, but I'd wildcard, I think. I'd get rid of. I would. Do you know what? I'd wildcard and then maybe it's because it's in my head. I think I'd wildcard and free hit in 27 and use the chips you've got to make, because there's so many players there I don't want.
Well, yeah, there are, but the thing is, I'm not going to bench boost. We're not bench boosting, so Dennis and King, I don't even think we'd play. We would go into it with maxed up on Arsenal, maxed up on Liverpool, and then we don't have to worry about them in game week 27. 27, we can max out on City and on all the likes we've just been talking about, and then perhaps wildcard afterwards. But with these free hits and a wildcard in hand, I think the wildcard could be really useful to be used a little bit later when we know a bit more about Chelsea, Leicester and City, some of these teams. I know you just wildcarded, so it's, do you feel, because you've just wildcarded, you're seeing teams with, it's just these 2 Watford, say there weren't 2 Watford players there, would you want to wildcard it?
Yeah, I think I would. There's just players there I don't like you look, Target, Davis, Dalot, Foster, Douglas Luiz, Trossard, Dennis, King, Ronaldo, I get rid of. And straight away you're looking at that and thinking, if there's 8 players I get rid of, I think that's then... don't get me wrong, we've got 2 free transfers, so if there's, you need maybe a bit more than that, but yeah. I mean, actually, so Kamsi's just put in the chat, if you wildcard this week, you can't triple captain Salah, which is true as well.
Exactly,
But... I just think a lot of people, don't get me wrong, wildcard is probably out because you then can't play a chip in this double game week. But I just look at it and think a lot of people have done this. They've kind of trickled along and been roughly happy with their team when they've got double game week players that they don't really like.
Well, I think so, with this though, because we're looking to take a hit. using
Yeah.
three
So
moves.
mini wildcard then, isn't
So it'd
it?
be a
So
mini wildcard. So I'd be looking at, and I
you've got to
think,
take Ronaldo out then, haven't you?
yeah, and Ronaldo's the
Yeah.
cash cow. I think
Yeah.
we can go triple Arsenal. So we've already got Ramsdale. So
Yeah.
we can, and because we can free hit in 27, we can really, attack that. And
Yeah.
Douglas Luiz is obviously a weak link, and obviously those
Yeah.
Watford players. So I'd be looking at Ronaldo, Douglas Luiz for a couple of Arsenal players, and then
Yeah.
perhaps one of King or Dennis out for whoever we can get. And that could be, if it was Jimenez, I'd take
Yeah,
that.
Jimenez would be nice. If you could have Lacazette, Jimenez, I mean, you could even do Louise to Ramsey, or you could do Louise to someone like Saka potentially as well, if you didn't want Lacazette up top.
So
yeah, not awful then, I suppose.
So suddenly, when you look at this, and it doesn't help that I've put the whole team up rather than like so what the bench could be. So that some of those weaker players that you've said, it doesn't matter. They're not going to get a look in.
Yeah,
they're not going to get. There's no place for them. And then we can worry about them in Game Week 28, and by then we'll have stocked up again on Arsenal. So I like spending a hit, removing some dead wood, and there's a bit of that here. But but I'll have a tinker. We'll get in our live chat in our chat on Twitter about how we do this. But there's lots of options here and lots of potential over the next couple of weeks, I think. So that's why I'm envious of this team, because it's very, very flexible with those 2 free transfers. I think you mentioned Kamsi in the chat. I think Kamsi was saying he's got 2 free transfers as well, and that's very good planning indeed to go into game week 26 with 2 frees, because there's a lot of really good options.
To be fair, with 2.2 in the bank as well, you should easily be able to get Lacazette, and Jimenez. I would have thought.
Yeah.
Don't hate that.
Yeah, it should be. So that would be something like Saka, Jimenez, Lacazette, and that's a really tidy team for 26, 27 free hit, and then back into 28 with it as well. And those Watford consigned to history on the bench. Yeah, hopefully. Now we're going to have some live. So everyone in a live chat, get your questions ready. Type away for them. So how do you want to do this, Andy? You're sort of in control of this. Do you want me to talk while you compile it? Or?
No, literally people can just start chucking questions in straight away, to be honest, because I just take them straight from the chat. So if you've got any questions, chuck them straight in. We'll try and answer in as few words as possible. So don't make them really, really lengthy ones, and try not to make them too team dependent. Just ask us, a quick question, and we'll try and answer as quickly as possible. And we'll probably do it. You answer, Joe, and then I'll answer after as well, if that's cool.
Okay, yeah. So what I'll do is, let's put your bus team up so you can have a look at that, and then you can dive into the live chat after that. So I'll put your team up. So I've got your team up on the screen. This is what you're going for. As the live chats, the chats that we were having today in preparation for it, has decided that purple is the colour of the double game weeks.
I like it.
But it stands out. I'll give it that though. So basically the purple one's there. So lots of purple's good because you've got 2 games.
Yes.
So can you run through your team and any changes that you are planning?
Yes, so I will 100% be doing Bruno to Salah. That's definitely happening. So that will take me to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 doublers. Would have been 9 with Martinelli, but there you go. Not a massive fan of having the 5 at the back, but if I go through it for the people listening to the pod, so I've got Ramsdale at the back, double game week, Trent double game week, Cancelo, Dean, Robertson double game week, 8 Nori double game week. Salah will be coming in for Fernandes. That's definitely happening. I left money in the bank to make sure that I could absorb any price rises too. So he'll have a double game week, and he will be my triple captain. Then I've got Bowen. You cannot bench Bowen at the moment. Saka double game week, Kane double game week, and Edouard double game week as well. And then I've got Martinelli, Mopé, Ramsey on the bench with Sanchez as well. Now that's not a bad bench, and I was looking at a kind of, do I bench it? But I'm going to be triple captain in Salah. That's easy for me. I was tempted at one point to maybe take a hit, to maybe take Mopé out and bring someone like Jimenez in. Maybe do I take someone like Mopé out and bring someone like Brozier in? But I feel like that's probably not the week to do that. I feel like next week Brozia's got Norwich, I think, and you look at it and think that's probably the week to do that.
Well, can I just point
and
out?
obviously, I'll be on free hit. Yes.
Someone's offering us money in the chat. We haven't actually got
Oh.
that function. So apologies if that function is in there. But it's not one of those live chats.
I thought we did. Oh.
We might have, but I don't know. I feel a bit like I feel like a stripper. People chucking money at me to pop it in my pants and then.
Oh, it depends. If it goes straight to us, I'll do some stripping. That's fine.
I think they might pay me not to strip, but
yeah.
But yeah. So yeah, your team looking good. Lots of purple there. So you'll be looking at 8, possibly 9 if you took a hit. But there's probably no need in your case there. So let's put my team up here. So yeah, a bit of purple as well. But they're pretty rubbish purple, nice. Some of them. So at the moment, I've got De Gea in goal, Alexander-Arnold, Cancelo, Reguilon, Jota, Bowen, Fernandes, and Salah, who will be my triple captain. I've got Watkins, Dennis, and King. And then on my bench, I've got Steele, Martinelli, Livramento, and Diop. So definitely not bench boosting. I am looking to do Ramsdale, De Gea for Ramsdale, and Fernandes to Son. A while ago I wanted to go 2 premium midfielders, and I'm just going to ignore premium strikers for the rest of the season. I'm not interested in Ronaldo. If I've got Son, I'm not interested in Kane. I don't want that double up, and he's cheaper than Kane. And I cannot think of another premium I want. Maybe Jamie Vardy will come back, but then I can wildcard if that's a thing. But I'm really not interested. I think De Bruyne, Son, Salah. These are the sorts of premium players I want that I would consider captaining. I'm looking at De Gea to Ramsdale, Fernandes to Son. And triple captain Salah, and that will leave me with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But that includes the Watford strikers in there. So that's 8 double game weeks.
So 6.
So 6, yeah. The thing that I'm considering, even though Ollie Watkins has Watford, what concerns me, I was talking to Tom who's a Villa fan, on the captaincy video, and he's really and I've seen this by other Villa fans as well. They think that Watkins might dip out of this one, and Danny Ings might get a start because he hasn't. I mean, we've seen it in points, but he hasn't on the pitch looked perhaps his old self. And I think I might bench Watkins and actually play Martinelli, or the other alternative is take another hit, so a -8, and get Jimenez in for Watkins. Yeah. But I think Martinelli against Wolves is probably just as good as Watkins against Watford if I think he's going to be benched, because that would be very frustrating to have a double game week and then one of your single game weeks doesn't even start, gets maybe 10 minutes. But the rest of the team with that hit with Ramsdale, so I feel okay with that. That'll do me. And I'm still okay for 27. I think I'll go into that with 10 players. I think 9 maybe, but I'm quite happy to field 10 for that. And I'll have Son as my captain, I think. So I'll probably look to get a Burnley player because they play twice. And then maybe 28 wild card, but maybe not. So that's me. Have we got any live chat questions?
Oh, we do have some questions, and don't worry, Mina, I will answer your question as well. So don't worry. Don't worry.
I know, I feel like
so let's have a look.
Stripper still.
An expensive one. Sam says, is Zaha a good punt this week?
A Palace midfielder is always a good punt in a double game week.
Nice, I like it. Yes, I would say yes as well. I don't think it's a bad punt at all. Nenad Popovic says, Son or Robertson?
What?
Son, or I'm assuming he's on it. He might be on a free hit, maybe. Then maybe you can only afford one.
I
Not
do
sure.
not
But if you had to pick
understand-
one this week,
I don't understand a world why you would have. What? I just don't understand how that they're both completely different prices, completely different positions. They're just so far removed. That's like saying, oh, shall I get Lenin or Donald Trump? I don't know. They're quite similar, aren't they? I don't know. Maybe they are. But,
always Trump.
yeah, but it's just I don't understand why
No.
how are you get into a position where you have to make that choice?
Okay, we'll skip over that one. Niraj says free hit or triple captain in 26.
Triple captain, Salah.
Yeah, I agree. Triple captain. Tony D says empty bench to keep Liverpool assets in blank game week. So do you just have Liverpool assets in your blank game week? On the bench, is that okay?
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, you don't have to sell them.
Yeah. Daniel, is Salah gonna get benched in one of the games?
I'd be very surprised. And who cares?
I would as well.
Who cares if he is? Salah in 30 minutes against Palace.
Yeah.
Remember that? Leicester. He could have come away with 15 points against Leicester.
There's one of these things that, when you're somebody that doesn't look on Twitter and doesn't look at content and things like that, like there's a lot of scaremongering that goes on, and it's the best option.
Yeah.
Sahil says, is it worth doing Trossard and Foden to Son and Ramsey, but for a hit?
Trossard and Foden. So what's again? Trossard and Foden to
Son and Ramsey.
Yes.
I would go with yes as well. Miena says Pogba and Mope to Saka and Cornet and Raul for a -4. Oh, Saka or Cornet. So would you move Pogba and Mope to get Saka or Cornet and Jimenez for a -4?
Yes. They've still got more fixtures, and they're not.
I would.
They're not
100%.
like Bowen, who were like, oh, you're gonna fail if you get rid of them.
Yeah, I would as well. Just to get rid of Pogba as well. Downgrade him.
Benched.
Would you rather have Gaeta? This is from DG. Would you rather have Gaeta or Saar between the sticks for the double game week?
Well, we've already answered that, haven't we, earlier? Saar.
Yeah.
Saar and Ramsdale, literally the only goalkeepers I would consider.
Yeah. Andrew Roper, Kane or Son to transfer in for the next few game weeks?
Son.
I think we know the answer to these, don't we? Yeah.
Son.
See, I'm going to go Kane.
It's Son because he's 2 million cheaper, and if Kane does well, Son does well. If Son does well, Kane does well. Very rarely one will do well without the other. But 2 million.
Yeah.
You must think you would. If I was wildcarding, I would not have got Kane over Son.
See, I went with Son first, and then I just thought I can fill my team with 5 other midfielders I also want. Whereas strikers, I still wanted at least. I know he probably shouldn't have, but I just wanted that one striker up top that I could maybe captain and all that, and it ended up on Kane. But oh no, it's jumped forward. Hang on. Would you swap? This is from Andy Mack. Would you swap Foden to Son this week for a hit because of the extra fixture?
I would prefer to swap someone else, perhaps, because I think Foden will play in 27 and could be a good captain even. So long term, I don't know.
I think I would. I think with Champions League back, I think I would.
In my case,
Foden's so frustrating.
I'm getting Son in for Fernandes, so I'm done. I'm done with Manchester United.
Yeah.
Done, ripped up, gone. De Gea is the only one I'll keep for a little while.
Matt Henley says Saiss for a punt on a free hit.
Exactly the type of player I was talking about. Saiss, Gabriel, Tarkowski, goal-scoring defenders. Saiss has got goals in him, and he can get away. He can get you 20. I remember one of my favourite double game. This is a long answer, but one of my favourite double game week defenders ever was Esso Kutu at I hope I pronounced his name right, at Spurs.
At Spurs, yeah.
And I got him in for a double exactly for this reason. I thought he had a goal in him, and he came out with an absolutely ridiculous double game week score of like well over 20. And this is exactly what you want. Saiss, I would not be surprised. He's brilliant. If you can do, exactly the kind. I'm really jealous. I wish I had all the players I wanted, and I could just make a luxury move like that, get a Saiz in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I completely agree. If I had to pick a Wolves defender, it would be Saiz. He's perfect because he's so attacking on set pieces as well.
Do you want me to ask you some questions? And
Oh,
but
I'd love to.
What I'll do is I'll go from the bottom and see where we go. So Michael Scott asks, is -8 too much if bringing in Arsenal players plus Salah, and you plan to free hit in game week 27? Has he answered his own question there?
I would actually say it's not. I think -8 is probably the most I do. But if you're bringing in Arsenal players and you're bringing in Salah and you're then free hitting and Arsenal are potentially getting that double in game week 28, I think it's fine personally.
Okay. Steinberg, I think you might have asked me this. Who will get more points, Son or Saka? Who do you think is the best, Son or Saka? Son, Saka.
I'd probably say Son, just because of Arsenal's propensity for not scoring goals at times. So I'd probably go with Son personally.
Lacazette or Weghorst? Or Weghorst?
Lacazette. Yeah, Lacazette. Just because Weghorst is a bit injured at the moment as well, and it's Burnley. So
right, I'm going to paraphrase this one from Bernardo. Best Watkins replacement.
Long term is Brozier, I think. He's probably the best value striker in the game, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, that is one of his one of his options there. He was thinking of a few others like Jimenez and Weghorst, but I agree with that. Brozier's the one I would want because he's literally one. I think he might be the only striker that I like the look of.
Yeah, big time.
You know that lot you had earlier in the season, Scarlett and Street and all those guys.
Richardson.
I dream of them now. I just like a couple of them, and then
if you wanted to as well, is it Ida that's playing up front for Norwich?
Yeah,
go with him. He's under $5 million. Yeah. Just bench him.
Yeah, I was. I'll go for Ida. Is it fair to sell Reguilon for Tierney? Says James London.
Yeah, it's a bit sideways, and I mean, I don't like Reguilon. I didn't like Reguilon at the start because he's very in and out, and I can't really trust that he's going to play all the time. And like I said, Romero's the one I go for now. I'm also not a massive fan of Tierney just because I can't trust that he's going to stay fit all the time. So I'd probably just get White and just know that he's going to play. He's going to get you 6 points potentially. I know he's not going to be getting attacking returns, but I think White is still the way I go because you're going to have Ramsdale there as well. So, and he loves bonus points. So I think White's still the way I would go over Tierney personally. If you're trying to keep...
Hello, you still there? We got another question about White actually.
I am, yes.
Oh yeah, Connor O'Dowd. Should I get rid of White as I'm not free hitting in game week 27? So he actually sees him as a hindrance. Would you get rid of if you obviously like me not going to free hit in 27?
I didn't hear the start of it, sorry, because I think I went for a bit.
Should he actually get rid of White? Should he actually get rid of an Arsenal player that's perhaps only 6 points max in a game?
Yeah, you can if you're not free hitting in game week 27, but obviously you're potentially going to want an Arsenal defender back. So if you can bench him, that's obviously the best thing to do. But I think Joe's going into game week 27 with potentially only 10 players. It's not the end of the world.
No, I don't know that at all.
Game week 28.
Okay, I think the internet connection might be slowly dying on us, but we will. Yeah. I think Ronaldo's just scored. I don't know if he's in your team.
Has he?
I don't know. It just says Ronaldo goal. Says Bernardo Santos.
Yeah, it is 1-0.
Oh.
It is Ronaldo.
Well, I hope Fernandes assisted him.
Oh my God.
And we're going to do a final question here from Gaz, who's a keep. Right, premium midfielder to Salah, KDB or Bruno?
Oh, I would probably do Bruno to Salah personally.
Okay, rightio. Yes, that's what I would do as well. So I think we've struggled with there. Obviously, I'm absolutely delighted as a Fernandes captain to see Ronaldo score, and delighted to see my red arrow get even more prolific. So hopefully I can get something for the end of this game. And also, he scored against my blooming team. It's like like real life and fantasy nightmare.
Underdogs coming in. I like it.
Definitely. Andy, thanks for joining me and going through all those lovely tables and stats and my quick editing on screen and mic testing. And thanks to everyone for bearing with us. It's a McTominay assist. Brilliant. It gets better and better. So thanks everyone in the live chat for your great news towards the end. And let's hope Fernandes scores at some point. But Brighton beat them 3-2 at the end. So thanks a lot. Thanks everyone for joining us. Andy, catch you soon. See you later.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.